we should introduce our interview.
Yes, we should. Why don't we do that?
So this is our interview with Escuela Grind, who captured our hearts. Had to get this wonderful front lady on the show. Katerina, it was sweet, wonderful, and also with those incredible vocals and, you know, all those great philosophical and all those great philosophical inspired lyrics.
Fascinating discussion about Grandmaster Flash of all people.
So you'll love them immediately. And like I said, see them live, get over to Spotify, check them out. You will be won over in seconds, just as we were.
All right, so check it out. Here's the interview.
I must tell you, Miss Katerina, when we walked into the Metro Gallery to see Exhumed, we did not know we would be leaving with a Escuela Grind t-shirt, but we did, because you guys knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
That's great.
Oh, thanks so much, y'all. Thank you.
So the name of the band translates to school grind. How did that kind of come to be the name?
Yeah. Originally when we started, we were just Escuela. And we were all, well, 2 out of the 3 of us back then were in school, and we lived in like a college town. So it kind of fit, to be truthful, we didn't have a name, and we were just jamming, and I just started screaming Escuela, Escuela, Escuela over like a D-beat pattern. So it just kind of stuck. That's the real story. But we'll go with all the conceptual answers that are coming out now too. School grind.
How did you get into extreme music? Was there any one person or group that kind of inspired you this way?
So I grew up in the 90s here in Massachusetts, Western Mass specifically, but like for my age group and for the time, like Converge was the biggest thing, the biggest band. Everyone was in a band that sounded like Converge, if not openly trying to be exactly like Converge. And like even people that were doing music that wasn't even close to them, they would put, you know, in their MySpace or whatever, sounds like Converge and this or whatever. It's just like everyone was so influenced by Converge. So that's my intro point pretty much. Bands like that, of course, you know, everyone, I'm real adventurous music type. So I liked a lot of different stuff back then. And we had like all the scene stuff and like screamo music and whatnot back then. So that was kind of big in Western Massachusetts in the early 2000s too. So we had some cool bands out here like Ampere and stuff that were influential, I guess you could say. I like them a lot. So yeah.
That's awesome.
My favorite Converge story, I took my son to see them. I'd seen him a bunch of times. And they cut the show short. Like Jake Bannon got on stage and said, all right, we're going to have to stop because somebody kicked me in the head and I'm seeing 3 of everything.
Oh, no.
Song. And I remember thinking, I thought that was like a normal Tuesday for you. You know?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? You're cutting it short. This is violent music, you know? Anyway.
Did you have any female mentors that were able to teach you kind of how the ropes and how to sing? And
I not really, to be honest. I have lots of friends at the time and now that we're all into this music, so we'd just like goof around in the car, sing along and whatnot. But no one in particular that kind of pulled me out of obscurity to say in our scene. Our scene was very small here growing up, though. It's like we live in a small town now, so we live in the town that I grew up in. No one else from the band is from this town, just me. And it's like we did have shows when I was growing up, but not so much now. There's like some stuff here and there, but yeah. So there wasn't too many non-male members of the community. Yeah.
yeah.
So that was a big. It pushed me to do more, though. Growing up like that, and in a scene where there wasn't so many of us, or so many people that weren't cis white males. So it's always a motivator to keep hitting milestones and keep going, and to be as inclusive as we can. So yeah, I wish there was someone that was around that I could have learned the ropes from, because that would have saved me.
You're self-made, yeah.
There we go. There we go. I like that answer better. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what are the main ingredients that make up your kind of twerkable type grindcore?
Ooh, well, I mean, our backbone is grindcore, power violence. So we always like to bring those elements in and make them accessible in some way. So we always add other parts of our influence. So like right now, if you listen to our last record, Memory Theater, you'll hear tongue twister, Memory Theater. You'll hear a lot of hardcore influence. You'll hear a lot of death metal influence, and like certain parts you'll pick out, like Cannibal Corpse blasting and whatnot like that. So like, so you'll probably hear the influences in the recordings. As far as what makes it twerkable, well, right now we've been writing with such an influence, with such a what's the word? Like we've been focused in our writing on how the crowd will move to the songs a lot. It's just something we never really thought about before, and now we try and think about it, because when we were writing our last album, it was during COVID, so we thought about it a lot because we weren't playing live shows, and so it's cool to see that like how we wrote the songs to be moved to is how they're actually being moved to now, and that's something that's sticking with our writing. We're writing this month a lot for EPs and the upcoming EP that we have planned. So just started on that. So there's definitely an influence in how people will move, and if you show them what to do to it, they'll start doing it too. So like,
That's so cool.
if I'm up there shaking it,
really cool.
then someone else might shake it too. You know what I mean? So yeah.
That's cool.
It's neat to me that it was so. I was like, wow.
Like, all right, you guys counterclockwise.
Yeah.
All right, and then that guy, I want that guy to just stand in the back and drink a beer. And,
Hey,
yeah.
I'd
Well-
become too drunk with power if that was the real case. I could It'd be like,
We have had a doctor rock star in our show, but you were our first architect, I must say.
Yeah.
oh, nice.
Yeah, the other one was a college professor who also does music.
Oh.
But when you are writing, do you ever draw from kind of the influences of architecture into it? Does that make it in there?
Yeah, our last record, a big part of it was influenced by what I do, my trade, if you will. So like I never really got into it before, but I wanted to on the last record that we put out, Memory Theater. And it's got a lot of the language of architecture. The concept itself is like an art history, architectural, historical concept of the Memory Theater. So it's like an internal architecture. And so I kind of like took those words and the more like metaphysical aspects of what architecture is. It comes up a lot like in like, not that I'm a mason or anything, or I can be, but like that imagery, they use a lot of construction and stone laying, like, but mixed with like, this is a godlike thing what we do. So I kind of went to that point and used some of the language. Yeah, so it's different for me, but I like that we mix it.
This song is called "Forgot to Draw Air Vents."
There you go.
Actually, have you ever heard the Elvis Costello quote about architecture? Have you ever heard it?
No, I don't think so. No, what is that?
Taking a stab at music reviewers, and he said, "Writing about music is like dancing about architecture." That was his.
yeah, actually.
A little British nugget there, yeah.
Oh, I love it. Lots of musicians come from architecture, not so much in like the heavy realm, but when I was in architecture school, it was kind of fun to like look into like who went to architecture school and be a musician.
Is there anybody?
Like
I have no idea. Is there anybody that we would have heard of that you discovered?
Oh yeah. I think like several of the members of Talking Heads went to architecture school.
I'm so
not
not
sure.
surprised to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There
It's
were
music like that,
linear-
though. I think
yeah.
maybe one of the members of Devo or something was in our
That fits too.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. So it's more indie music. Like,
Yeah.
If there are other heavy metal architects out there, get at me.
Yeah. Let's get some comments. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that US tour that we saw you in with Exhumed and Vitrol and Castrator, how was that tour for you? It looked amazingly fun.
Oh, it was so great. I believe it was Baltimore that we saw each other. Yeah, Baltimore.
Yeah.
That show was great. We love that venue too. It's the first time we played there. But overall, the tour was really surreal. They asked us to fill in for a band that had to drop like 2 weeks ahead of touring, and it was a 5-week tour. So it was like down to the wire of like making sure we got our merch, making sure we like had everything situated. It helps that we have a van already, so we were able to just kind of cancel what we had to cancel and get on the road. But the tour was it was the greatest. It was like the best time we've had, the longest tour we've done, the most successful. We just had such a great time. So
it's a good thing your songs are a little longer, because I mean, if you had like Napalm Death Scum type songs, it would have been like, this is all we got. We don't know,
Exactly. Yeah. No, it was. Go right ahead. Yeah.
Did you have any real good memories or weirdnesses that happened along the way?
Any tour stories?
The whole thing was like, it was just happening. Like, it felt like it was happening in the moment, like the whole time, because of how quickly it came up on us. Let's see, crazy tour stories from the last tour. Everyone was like really chill. We did all get sick multiple times. Like, everyone on the tour was sick, like pretty much the entire and no one got like COVID or anything, but like it was crazy. Like, when one of us just got better, we got hit with like another virus or something that was going around, like a sore throat or this, and I got laryngitis and stuff. So like there were a few shows where it's like pushing through, like we have to make this happen. Like, no cancel, we never cancel like on a tour. So like it was a couple of nights where it was dicey, but yeah, I mean, just getting to meet the other bands too was great. I'm a fan of what Castrator does, and I like them as people. So that was great to be on a tour with them. And Exhumed are like, they're legends. They're great. They're all over good people to be around too. It's always nice when you meet some old heads. For me, they're old heads, but and they're actually cool. So I appreciate all the knowledge they imparted on us as well, and definitely want to get back out there with them again. So yeah, nothing that stands out that was like too crazy or anything without going too deep into it. But just like
I was super impressed because you were having sound trouble with your microphone, and you just at one point you were just like, fuck it, and you just started screaming, and I could hear you over the drums, over the guitar.
Oh, hell yeah.
I was so impressed. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
I was really impressed. I came up to you when I bought the shirt and I said, who's gonna follow that? Who's gonna follow it? And you were like, oh, that's so sweet, thank you. So that was our little interaction. Yeah.
Your stage presence is so theatrical, from your stalking and your facial expressions. I love some of the stills you have up on Instagram.
I think athletic is a better word.
Very athletic. You probably don't even have to work out ever. You ever worn a Fitbit and tried to see what your heart rate was, how much cardio you got?
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm going to at a certain point, because like I don't think it's like not imitatable. I was talking about this on tour because we were all so sick all the time, and I was just like trying to give it my all, and I wasn't feeling like I was, and then they're like, no, you're doing good. But it's like the way I use like my stage fright and I channel it into like that really chaotic moving and jumping around and stage presence. You just can't put yourself in that mindset. It's really like a fight or flight kind of thing that you put yourself into. So like, even if you tried to do that as a workout, it just wouldn't give you the same results, because it's just all adrenaline. Like, unless you had someone like chasing you with a knife or something, I don't know how to get that. Like, that nervousness that's channeled into anxiety, that's channeled into fight or flight. So yeah, I wish I could patent the workout program, but I don't know.
I was watching you headbang and I was thinking about all the guys from like the big four, like all the guys from Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth, Anthrax. They've all had to have neck surgery from headbanging.
Oh yeah.
And I thought,
Yeah.
I really hope that this generation has found a hack for this, because I would hate for that to
Yeah.
happen. And they were all like, oh yeah, we had to get it. My neck was killing me from years of headbanging, you know. So hopefully you have a hack for that. Yeah. So.
Yeah, knock on wood. It's stretching. I don't
Yeah,
know if it's gonna work in the long run, but for now it helps.
Well, I have a lot of faith in your generation. You guys are much smarter. I think you'll figure it out. Yeah. No.
Hey,
Yeah, I
someone
don't know.
does.
I think we might be able to work out like a workout DVD. I used to
There
go
you
to
go.
I used to go to a dance class, and unfortunately, after COVID, we've never gotten back together. I mean, I've danced with these girls for like 11 years. So now they only want to do it via Zoom, and I'm in the basement doing the routines. I'm like, somehow this is
Yeah.
not the same.
Yeah.
It's just not. But so maybe you could do that. You could do Zoom meetings, and people could pay you.
There you go. Metal Zumba.
Grindcore.
Oh, I think we might have something.
Grindcore aerobics. Yeah.
There you go.
So it looks like in February you're kicking off an extensive European tour with Napalm Death, Drop Dead, and Siberian Meat Grinder.
Wow.
How did that
Yeah,
tour come
yeah.
together?
I don't know the back end of it, but while we were on tour in
Agent found our video on YouTube.
okay, yeah, my trusted drummer and partner came in and told me what the backstory was.
Okay.
Just a European agent that books for Napalm Death and whatnot out there saw us on YouTube, probably saw like our Obscene Extreme video or whatever from last year, and thought it would work with the tour, and they sent a message while we were on tour with Exhumed. So that came about really quickly as well. So we're just getting all our pieces together to get out there next month. But it's a dream. Like, we're so grateful. Both Drop Dead and Napalm Death are huge influences on us.
Wow.
Like, we've gotten to play with Drop Dead several times now because they are from Providence. We're
I
from
was
Western.
going to say that. All right. I wasn't sure. I was like, is it Siege that's from New England, or is it Drop
Siege
Dead?
is from,
yeah.
Both of them are. Yeah.
Oh, they both
of them
are. Okay, good. All right.
Yeah.
See, my
So
moldy
it's like-
synapses remember certain things. Yeah.
Yeah, like the Boston, like Weymouth, Providence area. It's all like little towns that are in cities that are separated, but they're all super close, like 45 minutes away from each other. So it's like all blended. Yeah. So
It's fucking cold here.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you think there's any particular country you're most looking forward to performing in, or you don't know yet?
Ooh, yeah. So we've only gone once before. We went in 2022. So last year we went on our own like headlining tour around Obscene Extreme, which was rescheduled from 2020. So we had like kind of the tour booked, and then that all happened, and then it came back 2 years later. So yeah, so we went to a lot of places on that tour. Germany's really cool. We did a lot of German dates on that tour, but we didn't get to go to France, which is a place that we're going now. We're doing like 4 dates in France.
Okay.
And Switzerland we passed through, which is like the most beautiful, like it's so beautiful, the Alps and whatnot there.
Wow.
But we didn't get to play, so that's gonna be fun. And it's our first time in the UK, so we're really excited about that, and
Great.
especially to be there with Napalm Death, like playing all the legendary venues. Like we played the Electric Ballroom in London, and like the little venues that are attached to the O2 and stuff like that. So it's like,
That's
I
great.
shouldn't say little. They're big venues. I don't know why I said little. I guess everything's little. It's like the O2 arena, but yeah, we're so excited. We're so excited.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Indoctrination was recorded in your house, right? So was it
Yeah,
a similar
right.
process for Memory Theater, or were you in the studio?
So we were in the studio to record when we were writing it in 2020, like during the pandemic and stuff. In 2021, we basically took the approach that we did on Indoctrination, and we demoed everything in our house. So we have the home studio, wrote it, recorded it, demoed it, changed some parts, re-recorded. We like edited a lot. Like that wasn't really so much a part of our process before. The re-recording and demoing and editing. I mean, every band kind of does it, but it wasn't like something that we were really focused on or had like the time to do. So COVID was really helpful with that, at least, or the pandemic break, if you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, we demoed them ourselves here in the studio, but we recorded in God City studio with Kurt Ballou. So
Wow.
I've mentioned Convert before, but it was a really surreal experience working with him at God City. I mean, so many bands have gone through there. He has a Grammy for his work. It's like it's a full circle. It was a full circle moment, and like although it was kind of intimidating being with
I was
him.
gonna say, were you a little starstruck when you first started talking to Kurt? I mean,
Yeah, we had the chance to play with them before Converge, that is. So we had met before, and we were like circling radars, and his bandmate like included Indoctrination in like a list of like his favorite albums and stuff. So we had
awesome.
we had like rapport. But to go into the studio with him was like a whole other like definitely anxious. But he's such a cool dude, and he's funny as hell. So like our humor gets along very well. So
that's important. Yeah,
it was a great experience.
Was it a big change moving from a 3-piece to a 4-piece? Did that add a lot of moving parts?
Yes and no. Like we've always Jesse writes with the bass in mind all the time. Jesse's first instrument was like stand-up bass, I think. So like that's part of the DNA of the band. You always hear it with that on there. But previously Chrissy, our guitarist, had been playing, she still does this, but not it doesn't need to be as split, but she plays with an AB wide pedal. So she has her one guitar going through 2 separate amps, in which those have different settings. So at the time she could make one be more present with the low end, and it helps like kind of with the bass sound, and we tune lower. So it's like, it would help with the bass sound, but it's not like having a whole other body playing with the bass. Like it just sounds so much better with a bass player. So personally, it's brought our live experience up a lot, I think. And like a little like OCD with like placement, so it's nice to have like 2 and 2 in the middle sort of a thing. Like the layout of it has, like, I don't know why that matters to me, but like in my head it's like when it's like not, when it wasn't even, I was just like always like, where do I go? Like I'm the only one out here. But yeah.
Do you still do basement shows?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we do. It just depends on the situation. Like there's always going to be a time and place for a basement show. And we've had in our own basement here some pretty big acts come and play our small town in the basement. So yeah, there's always a place for it. Just if it makes sense, if it's safe for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I was watching your TikTok and I was just blown. I was like, what is this? I showed it to you.
The laundromat thing.
Laundromat.
Yeah. That's out in Columbus. Yeah. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, it's like they've been doing shows there for a while, from what I understand. There's a bar there, so it's a laundromat bar, and there's a small space in the back.
I was concerned about that. So yes, yeah.
It's called Dirty Dungarees in Columbus. We'll give them the shout out. Don't know when we're going to be.
Cool.
Yeah, Dirty Dungarees.
People are there just washing their clothes. Like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, that was absolutely happening. There was definitely people there that were like, oh yeah, that's one of these is happening again. They were just like, their business.
Old people they're like 23 minutes left. I got to sit here and listen to this. That's hilarious. Yeah.
You guys have been known to speak and even donate to minority women's rights as well as LGBTQ rights. Do you think someone in the crowd would definitely be inspired or find solace in that message? Have you ever had someone come up to you and say thank you?
Oh yeah, all the time. And it's
great.
So for I usually say the same things, so I can probably repeat verbatim what I said when you heard us in Baltimore. But it's like we always shout out the girls, gays, and theys. people of color in our communities and trans friends. And I usually try and tell people that if there's something that they want to do, like people can't get in your mind and talk you out of it, basically. Like you can do anything, sort of a mentality. Because I felt like I needed that growing up, especially because in our scene, there wasn't too many women or people of color or trans people. So it was almost like we had to have people come from out of town and tell us these things for us to like believe it. So yeah, I try and deliver that message every show, no matter. I mean, it's gonna hit differently in like places where people are diverse and open-minded than in smaller towns where people maybe haven't heard those messages as much. And I definitely have gotten a whole range of different emotions from people and how they respond to that message. But it runs the gamut. There's people that personally it resonates with them, and that's our stories to keep with each other. But there's also like people who's like lots of dads that come up to me and are like, my son or daughter just came out as trans, and like what you said means a lot to me because I wasn't really considering it or whatever. And now I feel like I can share that with them or share metal with them. And like, it's just nice to know that they're welcome here with me and whatnot, all sorts of different stories. But yeah,
Awesome.
Dads, teachers, parents, people, individuals, like all the time. So,
Great.
I think
I'm
it's
very pleased. I
really
remember you
important
saying that, and I had quite a few beers at that point, so I'm very
Oh,
pleased that I
nice.
remember
Good.
that. Yes. So
Oh yeah.
All right, should we play our game?
let's do our game.
All
Yes.
right. I have 100 random questions in front of me. I want you to pick 5 numbers.
Okay. 69. You gotta go with 69. I'm sure a lot of people pick that one. 33, 7, 13. How many do I have to pick? I'm
5,
sorry.
so one more.
One more? All right. 84. Don't know why I picked that one. That was just there.
Okay.
All right, so we'll go straight to 69.
Nice.
If you could learn a skill you do not currently possess, what would it be?
Oh God. Oh, there's so many. See, I'm like a jack of all trades, master of none kind of thing. So like over my life, I've like learned the bare minimum to like be functional on an instrument and never like mastered it. I guess, and same with like languages and all these different hobbies. But I guess there was one thing. Gosh, I just wish I could shred on the guitar, like really cool. I mean, I could play chords and stuff, but if I could shred, oh, it'll be
Like shred
over.
like who?
I would
Like
love that.
who do you want to sound like? Who do you want to sound like?
Oh God, who do I want
Phil
to sound like
Steer,
in
or
my
like, I mean, like who do you want to sound like? Who's the best
shit?
shredder?
Okay. Honest, this is so, I don't know why I'm thinking of this person so much, and it's not really a standard answer. But okay, let's move away from the guitar to the bass. I've
Okay.
always like the Stanley Jordan like finger picking
Oh wow.
style
Yeah.
thing,
Okay.
like the hammer-on stuff, and like being able to like be so melodic with that. So like that would be really cool to learn how to do that.
So jazz, you'd go jazz on this.
Ooh.
Wow.
I think so. Like, yeah, my partner, our drummer, listens to like a lot of Jaco Pastorius stuff. Like, so to be able to play
Wow.
like that, full of like music theory and like
Oh yeah.
just
Yeah.
skill would be like insane.
That's so
But like,
cool.
yeah, like I'd love to like shred like metal guitarists.
Well,
Like
at that
you saw
show,
Sebastian.
it's
Yeah,
funny you're talking
yeah.
about, you're talking about bass at that show. Who was the one band? Vitriol?
Vitriol.
The drum,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
bass player was playing bass and singing, and I went
Yeah.
up to him and said, "Les Claypool," and we just had a Primus geek out, the two of us, like for like 10 minutes. Yeah, it was just. And
Oh yeah,
I
no,
could
they're
just
insane
tell. Yeah,
musicians.
yeah. So.
Oh yeah, you saw the shredders,
Oh yeah.
Exhumed and
Yeah.
Vitriol. Like if you could shred like them too, that would be badass.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Always good to shred. Yeah.
All right, number 33. What is the first record or CD that you bought yourself?
Oh God. Oh, this is an embarrassing answer.
Oh no,
Oh,
it
do you
always
remember
is.
those?
It always is. It always is.
Do you remember those Now CDs though? Like Now That's What I Call Music.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, like I wanted them so bad, and like I was just like, and I got, I think the first CD that I bought on my own that I like took my money and I went to the store was Now #4. Now
Right.
That's What I Call Music #4. I also bought like the day after like Blink 182, I think it was like Enema of the
yeah.
State. So like those were my first two purchased records, albums or CDs. But yeah.
No, don't. I mean, it's always embarrassing. We interviewed this guy that's like Marilyn Manson on steroids a few weeks ago, right?
Uh-huh.
And we asked him that question, and he goes, "What's the Aerosmith album with the cow?" And I'm like, "Get a grip." And he's like, it's so embarrassing. I'm sorry. So yeah, I mean, we all when we were kids, we didn't know anything yet. You could have gotten Now That's What I Call Grindcore.
There you go. Now That's What I Call
That's what I call grindcore.
anti-music, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, I wish I could remember what was actually on that one. I think like, gosh, it's got like all different types of music on it, but
Played
that
over
one
and over and over
spec-
again. Yeah.
My kids used to want them every year in their Christmas stock. My kids are all 90s kids, so they always wanted them. They probably would be embarrassed about that.
Mine
one.
was a cassette, a K-Tel cassette, and it had the Joan Jett, I Love Rock and Roll, and Ozzy
Nice.
Flying High Again, and Loverboy Working for the Week. I should stop talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I had like always like had music like before that. Like my parents used to run like a flea market.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if anyone uses that term or whatnot, but it's like just basically like out in the field, you put a bunch of tables
Oh
and
yeah.
out and then right. So I would always have like random old CDs and stuff from that, and like always had them. It's just I didn't go out and buy an actual CD until I was like 10 or 11. So gosh, that's so silly.
Cool. Yeah. All right, what number are we on here?
7. What is your biggest pet peeve?
Oh gosh. I used to have a lot of them, and I've like kind of through mental work been able to kind of let some of them go. Like I used to be very like if I saw 2 exclamation points, like it would bother me until I like added a third or like stuff like that. So
Pot smoking helped me with that problem.
yes, exactly. Actually, very true for at least me. I don't know if it helps everyone, but
For me
yeah,
as
I
well,
can.
yeah.
It's easier for me to. But a pet peeve, gosh, I don't know. I'm really pretty easy going when it comes to most stuff, but I'm like a clean freak. If it's like sort of if my area is messy or if I'm coming to it's good, but I'm a clean freak for stuff that I have control of. But like if I'm going to like a punk house, it's not my space. Like I'm willing to just like breathe and let it go. So like the van being messy, I guess, is a pet peeve of mine. But we all add our little messes to that. Like my house, I'm like, oh my God, yeah. I'm a bit of a clean freak, so that's my pet peeve.
I remember one time when my kids were young, I heard myself say, "Does anyone else know how to shut a door in this house?" And I thought, all right, I got it. I got to chill out.
Yeah.
I sound like my parents, So, yeah.
All right, we're up to number 13. Do you have a favorite professional sport that you like or team?
Oh yeah, for sure. So Massachusetts, I go probably like I played sports in like school and whatnot. So like my main sport that I played was soccer. But we don't watch that much of it in the States, and our teams kind of aren't so that's not like my go-to. But when I'm watching sports, like basketball all day. I love basketball. Celtics, we had a good season last year, so I'm sure it's going all right so far. So that's good. So I love Boston Celtics for basketball. I'll watch like football and baseball. Like they're all right with me. But Cowboys for football, Sox for baseball. And like hockey's always fun to watch. So like I love Dallas Stars for hockey and the Boston Bruins. But yeah.
Cool. That's very cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, number 84. Do you have a favorite quote?
I don't know if it's my favorite quote, but I was thinking about it the other day because I used it for my high school. You know how they have you do a quote under your picture and whatnot.
Oh yes.
And my quote was a Nietzsche quote, which tells you a little bit about how annoying I was in high school. But yeah, it was one must have chaos in one's soul to birth a burning star, I think is the exact quote.
Oh, I
So
like
that was I liked that quote. Now I don't know, poo poo pee pee. That's probably my favorite quote right now. Just dumb stuff.
I was
Can't-
always like
can't
Eleanor
be
Roosevelt.
serious. Mm,
She said, "Well-behaved women are rarely make history."
Oh, I like
that's
that.
right.
Yeah.
There's another there's like
I like Socrates' quote when he said, "I drank what? What happened?"
yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you actually have a lot of like philosophical things in your lyrics, which is different.
Yeah,
So how do you?
I
Very
try.
intelligent. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's why I
Kind
know
of
you.
screaming about Charles Manson for 30 seconds. I mean, if you've come a long way, the genre has come a long way. Yeah.
Get a little
Which I
Play-Doh
love
in
that.
there.
I love gore. I love all that stuff. It's just like it feels inauthentic for me to. I like never can take myself too seriously or like
Yeah.
into the character enough to like probably do that every night. So like I've never like written like gore lyrics or like
Yeah.
porno
Yeah.
grind lyrics or anything like
Have you read Have you read Choosing Death? Have you read that book?
that. Mm-mm. No, I have not.
It's like the history of death metal and grindcore. And
Mhm.
early on in the book, they talk about the early Napalm Death shows. If this song went past like 15 seconds, they'd start screaming "prog rockers."
Yeah, there you
Crazy,
go.
crazy. Yeah. I can only imagine.
So
That's at least
you're-
it.
Mhm.
Oh no, sorry. There's a delay, so I just keep interrupting you.
No,
I'm
no, you're fine.
sorry.
You're fine. You're fine.
Um,
What were you gonna say? What were you gonna say?
No, it's just like with the shortness of the songs, it presents a challenge in how you do your lyrics. Like if you have something to say and you have such a short period
Yeah.
of time to say it, like it can be like Cookie Monster word salad, like,
Yeah.
like that kind of stuff, or it could be like one word songs, like stuff like
Yeah.
that. So that because our songs were a lot shorter when we started out, and it was like the whole fastcore thing. Like I took the route of like the Cookie Monster word salad, and like now that we have longer songs that we're able to like spread the concept out on, like editing has become really big in my own writing for the patterns and the lyrics, because like you know I always like do too much, say too much, and going back and editing down to like the simplest, like, okay, what do I want to say? What am I trying to say with this that I just wrote? And how simple can I make it and to get the point across? I think that's so invaluable and so important, something that I've learned from hardcore. So yeah, that's important to me.
Yeah, I have a hard time with like 30-second songs. I mean, I need a little more. I need a couple minutes. A couple minutes to, Scum is a tough listen for me. It really is. Even to this day, it's just it's so the songs are so short. I need time to get into them. You know what I mean?
Your
I feel you.
favorite, I think, your favorite lyrics that I like personally are in a chamber, trespasser of a certain posture, supine, it shakes the rafters attached to the frame, constant clamor. It's almost like a haiku.
No, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really neat how when you write, do you write it like almost like a poem, or how do you work it?
So that album, the Memory Theater stuff, there was like a concept for the whole album, sort of, and each song was its own quote unquote room within the theater or whatnot. So each little piece had like a concept behind it. So like one was creating the interior architecture, another destroying it, and that one in particular that you pulled from was like probably one of my most personal songs. That one was like about someone invading your theater, if you will, invading your space. So like but like not so much that. So like the line alludes to like there's someone there, in the very back of the top farthest room in your mind, and they're just shaking and they're making all this noise, and it's coming out as just these dull. It's like it's there, it's still there. You can hear them in the back there, but it's dull, and it's just time to get them out of there. So that
That's cool.
just a evict their ass sort of a thing. So that song is kind of an insight on how I did that. But in general, like I like songs that have rhyming schemes. Like I try and make everything rhyme. I just think it works better for what I do, what we do. But I always start with patterns. Start with patterns and then kind of like he's like over it, like nonsense over it, and then fill in the words. But sometimes you just get writer's block. And on the last album, there was a couple songs where I was having a hard time figuring out what the best part was, and so the other members of my band will become involved, and I'll ask them their opinions, and we'll try and work out what we all think the pattern should be on that. And then, like for example, we have a song on the record, Forced Collective Introspection, and and I was having a hard time with the chorus of that. I was like, I don't know, everything I'm like singing to myself kind of sounds like that last song, and I want this one to be different. And I was like, what does it make you think of? To our guitarist Chrissy, and she's like, I don't know, it's kind of like a pep rally song or like a cheerleader vibe. And so then I was like, be aggressive, be aggressive. I say be aggressive. So then from that point, and it kind of was like, oh, okay, I can take that little nugget and like put words behind it. And so it became Force Collective and the chorus to that song. So, inspiration hits
That's really
differently.
cool.
Same thing with the other song we have, Cliffhanger, and that's all old school hip hop. So like our drummer was like, what do you think about this part for this song? And he's like, I don't know, it kind of sounds like Grandmaster Flash, like. And so I was like, don't push me. And so we ended up keeping that phrase like in the song too, just because it was different and cool enough that it worked. So
that's like the first hip hop, right? Grandmaster Flash. That's the first hip hop, I think, isn't it?
I'm not. So there was hip hop before that, like all like what's the song? Is that a hit? Hop, a hit, a heavy to the hit.
Yeah.
I think that's the first.
Grandmaster Flash is going way
but
back.
Yeah,
that's
kind of like the first like introspective, like not party rap or hip. That changed the game, and I love the message of that. I love it. I used to wear when we performed a lot a song that had Grandmaster Flash or a shirt that had him on it and said, "Don't push me because I'm close." So like, yeah, it's like a full circle moment for the band. But yeah.
Do you ever like write lyrics and then later you look at them like a couple weeks later and you're like, what the hell was this? What was I? Because I do that with our material. I'll be like, what? This is not funny. What was I thinking?
Yeah, I think everyone that's a creative does that. But like now the way that we write, I'm just editing so much that I think like I get it past there's like a cringe level, and then there's like the refined level. So not too much. Not too much. I mean, there's probably old songs.
Less, but especially if I write something under the influence of something, the next day I'll be like, what was this? What? Anyway. Well, this was great, wasn't it?
So we're very excited. I saw your announcement. You'll be back in Baltimore in May at the Hell in the Harbor Festival.
Well, that's cool how that worked out.
Yeah, there. Yeah, we're hoping we'll have a table there so we can do the show there. So
hell yeah,
it should work out fine because there's so many great bands there that we want to just have the show set up and just have people come and have a seat and talk, and then so that's the point.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, from what I understand, from what Adam told me and on everything, that it's going to be like there's going to be an outside stage and inside stage at sound stage. So like
that's great.
Where everyone has been to for Maryland Death Fest and whatnot. And I don't think there's going to be a lot of walking involved. I think they're going to like shut down the street and like have it right outside. So it's going to be like walking to Edison lot or anything like that. So I think it's going to be awesome. I'm so stoked. I don't know if they put out like who's on what day yet, but the day that we play is stacked and we're so stoked, and it's just awesome. We definitely needed something in Baltimore on Memorial Day weekend this year. So So I'm
That's
so
exciting,
grateful.
'cause
I see you there too at a table.
Yeah, we'll
Hey,
flag you down if we see you.
Yeah,
please
I was
do.
all sad with Maryland Death Fest because now they're saying it's not going to be till 2024, and I'm like, oh, who needs Maryland Death Fest? This is the
Oh, yeah.
Right. This is the
Yeah, there you
stop.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the intention is to have them continue with the Hell in the Harbor festival too, just having it on a different weekend sort of a thing. So I don't know when it's going to be in the future, but hopefully there's a ton of people that go this year, and so where the demand is really high. So,
That's
and I
cool.
love Baltimore so much. I love the music out of Baltimore. We hadn't played Baltimore until this year was the first time we played back in April with the I Hate God at Auto Bar. I think it was
Auto Bar.
Auto. Yep.
Okay.
So like I just so many influences and so many current bands that I really like from Baltimore right now. So yeah, shout out End It. They're like the biggest in hardcore right now, in my opinion. They're like awesome. I love that band. So them.
Yeah.
Trapped Under Ice, all those, y'all got Turnstile and stuff too. That's like the biggest band in the world right now. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. Mike Williams from I Hate God used to write for me when I had a magazine. Yeah. And I used to
oh,
look
nice.
forward.
Hell yeah.
I used to look forward to when he would write because he was always nails
Yeah, he's a
and
poet, like,
spikes
yeah.
and death, and he didn't hold anything back. And I used to look forward to his reviews so much. It was great. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for this. This is great. And we can't wait to see you at Hell in the Harbor.
Hell yeah. Thank y'all so much. Yeah, we'll be talking then.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.